when you pull on the knot, you find out how tight it really is. And an injury, and that's a time to really see how strong is the alliance. And I just go back to the one team. So if we have an injury, and we've had contractors with an injury, and the way we look at it is that's our injury. That's not contractor A's injury. That is a combined shared injury between us. And then we get together shoulder to shoulder, we roll up our sleeves and we look at what systems, what behaviors led us to that. And then we work together as a one team to solve that, to mitigate that, and truly find the real root cause. And I will tell you, when it comes to root causes, I've conducted many root cause investigations over, and a lot of times when it's something really serious, like your finger injury, or even something much worse, which can really have a profound impact on the investigation team, and they want to have all these really exotic, emotionally driven corrective actions, and I always caution them to say, guys, I get it. We care about Joe. He was a friend of ours and we're concerned about it. But are these corrective actions sustainable? Will we be doing these a year from now? And they usually pause and look at each other and say, no, we're just kind of caught up in the emotion of Joe's hurt and we want to do everything we can. Well, the best thing we can do for Joe is to put in sustainable corrective actions so there's no more injuries to Joe or anybody else like Joe, and we work together with our contractors, one team, and we share that responsibility. We don't look at it as you failed. We're completely, with no fault in this. We share the fault, we share the responsibility, and we share the action to fix it. So that's how we manage that.
Yeah, so James and I have worked for big companies as subs or as employees, in my case, and have gone into these meetings about injuries or what things are happening on site, and more often than not, the GC or the person who's hired all of these subcontractors wants to know what that contractor is going to do about it, right? And that creates fear, and it doesn't create respect, right? Because I mean, again, and I think James would probably agree with me, both as managers, right? That if something goes wrong with somebody on our team, there had to be some component of what we did or conveyed or feeling that might have gone out to the field staff that contributed, right? So I love the one team because I always kind of take a little bit of that responsibility on me. I know James does with his team, but I've also been in that where, the controlling contractor is looking down and saying, tell us what you're going to do. And it hardly ever is sustainable when it's tell us what you're going to do, as opposed to how can we all do something that's sustainable. So I give you kudos for that.
Well, and it builds equity, and we also, and I would say we're early into this stage, but where we're pushing it is, if one of our alliance contractors has an injury that's not on one of our projects, we want to have that equity and that trust with each other where they feel comfortable and can come share that with us. And we can sit down and what if scenario, we may have the same ingredients in place to have a similar incident. Let's work together so that we don't have that similar incident. And it's just that proactive, it's that trust. It just really, you get to really show, are you really one team? When you do that, you really exemplify a one team mentality. And it takes work, takes time. You don't build that equity and that trust overnight. A lot of times a contractor's hesitant. I don't want to go show my dirty laundry to my other client. But we build that trust. We don't look at it as we want to see it to see how bad you are. We want to see it so that we can learn from it and not have it repeated here. And I think it's super powerful and it's very effective for us.